Two attractive women dining on the restaurant's terrace attracted male glances from passers-by, but the friends were too busy talking to each other to pay attention to them. "How long ago was it, Melanie?" asked a tall, dark-haired woman. "It seems to me that I haven't seen you for ages." The second woman was Blondie and a year or two younger than her friend. "I know, Gary, and I feel bad about it. But between graduate school and family life, it was difficult to find time for anything else." "How are your studies at business school going? You must be close to completing your MBA." "Yes, almost everything is ready. We have spring break next week, and then there are only a few weeks of classes left before I receive my diploma. I've already turned in my thesis, so I don't have to worry about that. And even better, it looks like I'll be exempt from all exams. Then everything should be smooth." "This is wonderful, Melanie. Congratulations. Do you already have a job?" "No. I've been really busy the last 2 years, so I'm planning on taking a little break before getting into the labor wars. I want to relax and have some fun before I get back to work. But enough about me. How are you doing? Is there a special man in your life?" "I'm doing well, but I'm still looking for the right mister." The blonde looked at her brunette friend with an appraising glance. "With your appearance, I wouldn't rush to settle down. I bet you could go out with different guys every night if you wanted." Jerry gave her friend a sarcastic smile. "Believe me, Melanie, living alone these days isn't all it's cracked up to be. To find one decent guy, you have to go through a dozen scoundrels, and frankly, it starts to get boring. To tell you the truth, I'm a little jealous of you being happily married to such a wonderful guy like Adam. And speaking of Adam, how is your handsome husband doing?" "I think he's fine." "Oh, I think I just heard a discouraging word." "What's the matter, Melanie? Isn't everything good between you?" The blonde shook her head. "It's not that we have problems. It's just that Adam is so busy with his own affairs that we have little time to spend time together. And even when we do, we don't have much money to spend on entertainment. Well, he spends all this time on his company to build a future for the two of you. As for money, I suspect that graduate school is not cheap. I know and I appreciate it. But sometimes I just want to go out and have fun like I used to. At school, all my classmates talk about is going to parties and meeting people in bars. Meanwhile, I'm sitting at home and watching reruns on TV." The dark-haired woman looked shrewdly at her friend. Is there anyone in particular at school that you would like to go to a party with?" Melanie laughed. "You always knew how to read me too well." She then leaned forward to avoid being overheard. "Actually, there is one freshman, Carl. He's very nice." She blushed. "And he definitely likes me too. Every time we're together, he goes out of his way to say something really nice about how good I look and how well I'm doing at school." Gary shook her head. "I don't think Adam will be very happy to hear about this. It's just harmless flirting. It doesn't mean anything. But you're right. Adam is pretty old-fashioned about this sort of thing. That's why I'm not going to tell him." She shifted in her chair. "But I can't help but remember how everything was before I got married. It was so much fun playing on the field and meeting all the different guys. I miss it all. You need to be careful, friend. You have a very good husband, and you shouldn't risk losing him. You know Adam will never tolerate it if he catches you fooling around. And if you ever did, I'm willing to bet there are plenty of other women who would be more than happy to comfort him afterwards." I know. And honestly, I want to spend my whole life with him, start a family and all that. I just wanted to have a little fun before things get so serious." She lowered her voice and leaned closer again. "Speaking of the guy I told you about, yesterday he asked me to go to Florida with him for spring break. If there was some way to do this without Adam finding out, I'd probably agree." She leaned back and laughed dismissively. "But this is just a fantasy. It will never happen." Jerry sat down and looked at Melanie for a long time. Finally, she nodded her head as if she had made a decision. "Don't be so sure. I know how you can do this and get away with it." Melanie let out a sigh that was equal parts disbelief and delight. "Are you kidding? How? Are you sure you want to jeopardize your marriage just for a week-long fling?" If I could be sure that Adam would never find out, then why not? But you're just teasing me, Gary. There's no way I could get away with something like that. Yes, and in fact, it's quite simple. Jerry began to postpone each step on her fingers. First, you need to create a new mailbox on Gmail. Get him under some anonymous name, something like Good Friend. You then use this account to send Adam an anonymous letter, warning him that his wife is having an affair. Will I tell him that I'm having an affair? This is crazy. Why would I do this? Jerry continued calmly. More precisely, you would write that Melanie is having an affair with some person whom Adam does not know and cannot easily verify. And what will this give? It'll take his attention away from your hot guy from grad school. Yes, but it will make Adam suspicious of me. Exactly. But when he fails to find the guy you're supposed to be having an affair with, he'll have no choice but to confront you and demand to know what's going on. But I don't want him to suspect me. No, you don't want to. So when he confronts you, you will be very angry with him for not trusting you. In fact, you'll get so angry that you'll call time out on your marriage. Doesn't your mom live in Florida? Melanie was taken by surprise by the sudden change. Yes, why? Great. Angrily, you tell Adam that you are going to Florida for spring break to be with your mother and figure out what to do with your marriage. Then, while he's here in town, desperately trying to find the mystery man, you're in Florida with Carl having your own little fling. How will I explain all this to my mother? Jerry rolled her eyes. You shouldn't. In fact, you shouldn't even see your mother while you're there. But what if Adam calls her? Tell him not to do it. Make it clear that you need a complete break to sort things out. He shouldn't try to contact you or your mother while you're away. Warn him that if he tries, you might not come home at all. Melanie stared at her friend for a moment, contemplating her plan. Finally, her face brightened. You know, Gary, I can see how this could work. But what will happen when I return? It's simple. By then, Adam will miss you like crazy. And since he can't find the mysterious man who is supposedly having an affair with you, he will come to the conclusion that someone is playing a malicious prank on him. He will feel very guilty and will beg you to forgive him for not trusting you. You will forgive him, and everything will be fine. You'll have fun, and then you and Adam will be together again, closer than ever. What about the mysterious man I'm supposed to be having an affair with? Maybe I should just come up with a name for him? You can, but I think it will be much more believable if it is a real person. Choose someone you can't have an affair with, like someone very old, or living far away, or dead. That way, if Adam manages to track him down, you'll be safe. Hey, I think I know the perfect guy. I had a creepy professor in one of my classes my first year of graduate school. He must have left town because I never saw him again. How do you like it? Perfect. Melanie suddenly reached across the table and squeezed her friend's hand. You are the best, Jerry. I'm so excited. I really think it's going to work. Then she hugged herself and trembled slightly. I can't wait to tell Carl. Adam returned to his office and sat down in his second-hand swivel chair. He rubbed his forehead worriedly. If these parts do not appear soon, we will miss the deadline for the delivery of prototypes. After the foreman left, Adam sat trying to come up with a backup plan. When his email dinged, he quickly turned to check his inbox, hoping for good news. But when he saw that the subject of the letter was, "About your wife," he almost deleted it. But curiosity got the better of him, and he opened the message. I hate to tell you this, but Melanie is having a romance with Professor Bellingham. I just thought you should know. Good friend. What the heck? Stunned, Adam reread the message again, unable to comprehend the terrible words. What nonsense is this? It cannot be true. Melanie wouldn't cheat on me. Someone must be trying to stir up trouble between us. But who does this and why? He started to delete the message, but hesitated. That's the last thing I need to deal with right now. This must be a mistake, a misunderstanding. But his practical side did not allow him to ignore it. Damn it, damn it. Of course it can't be true. Angrily, he pressed the reply button on the email. Who are you? Why are you making such a terrible accusation? What evidence do you have? He pressed send and then stared at the screen in impotent rage. This won't lead to anything good. It is unknown when or if this guy will answer, and there's no way to track it. It's probably best to start finding out who this Bellingham guy is. He opened a browser, went to the university's web page, and searched for the Graduate School of Business department. Professor Bellingham was not on staff. He returned to the faculty register and began searching throughout the university. And again, he was unlucky. Frustrated, he tried looking at other educational institutions in the area, but to no avail. "This is madness," he muttered to himself. "Did my good friend just make up a name?" He then tried a Google search, and the search engine quickly returned 5 names. But 2 of them were female, and neither was local. I knew it was fake. Someone is trying to prank me, or drive me crazy. But again, he could not bring himself to delete the letter. Now that the letter had been sent, a seed of doubt began to grow in his mind. God, what if she's having an affair? I didn't see any signs, but that doesn't mean anything. Besides, I was so busy at work that I hardly spent any time with her. What if she was upset because she was being ignored? I remember that there were times when she wanted to go somewhere for fun, and I refused her. But damn, I'm working almost 70 hours a week trying to get the business going. Doesn't she understand this? Can't she see that I'm doing all this for us? And to be honest, we really can't afford anything extravagant. Her business school tuition is getting more expensive every year, and I'm pouring whatever is left into this place to try to speed up the process. And yet, I guess I neglected her. Feeling guilty, he started checking his calendar, trying to find the last time they met together. After scrolling through 3 months and finding nothing, he stopped searching. Damn. But even as his guilt increased, he felt a corresponding surge of anger. I may not have given Melanie as much attention as she wanted, but that doesn't give her the right to cheat on me. We also discussed what sacrifices we would have to make when we decided to start the business. She agreed 100% then, so she hardly has any right to complain now. His thoughts were interrupted when his foreman poked his head through the doorway. "Hey, Adam. Good news. The components we need have just arrived. God bless. Okay, we need to unpack them and get them to the workshop as soon as possible." When the foreman disappeared, Adam took a deep breath. Well, in any case, one crisis is averted. He smiled wryly. I think this means I can spend more time taking care of my wife. After spending even more time searching the internet fruitlessly, he sat back and tried to think. If Mel really is having an affair, then it simply has to be with someone from the university. Maybe my good friend got his name wrong. Or maybe the university just didn't put his name on their website. He returned to the university's web page and found the phone number for the Human Resources Department. When the secretary answered his call, he asked if Professor Bellingham was on the faculty. Which faculty, please? I think it's the Graduate School of Business, but I'm not sure. There was a pause, and then the voice came back on the line. I'm very sorry, sir, but we don't have Professor Bellingham in the School of Business. What about other schools? There was a sigh. Please wait. This time we had to wait longer. When the woman finally returned to the line, her manners had disappeared. Sir, there is no Professor Bellingham at the university. A thought struck him. Maybe he was an employee a year or 2 ago. I can only confirm our current teaching staff. Why? That is university policy, sir. Is there anything else I can help you with? No, you did your best, he said, trying not to sound too sarcastic. He tried again, calling the dean of the business school. He went back and forth with the administrative assistant. But in the end, he learned nothing more. By this time, Adam's head was throbbing. I need a good drink, he muttered, hanging up in disgust. But this thought gave him an idea, and he picked up the phone again. Hello, Gary. This is Adam. Listen, any chance you could meet me after work at Macy's place for a drink? I have a problem, and I really need your advice. No. I wouldn't like to talk about this on the phone. Can I? Great. I'll meet you there at 6 Gao. Before leaving, he checked his email again. There were no more messages from good friend. Entering Maxie's place, Adam noticed Gary sitting at a table in a quiet corner. In front of her stood a glass of white wine and a mug of his favorite draft beer. He walked over and kissed her on the cheek. "Thank you for the beer and, more importantly, for coming tonight. I really needed to talk to you." When he sat down, she took a sip of wine and then looked at him for a long time. "Okay, Adam, tell me. What's going on? Are there problems in your business?" Not knowing where to start, he stared at his mug for a moment and then said, "Do you happen to know Professor Bellingham from the university?" She shook her head, puzzled. "Bellingham? I've never heard of him. And what?" He sighed and handed her a printout of the email. "I received this today." She quickly scanned it, sighed, and read it again. Then she looked at him with sympathetic eyes. "Poor Adam. No wonder you didn't want to talk about it on the phone." "What do you think about it?" "I don't know what to think, Jerry. I can't believe this is true, but I also don't want to bury my head in the sand and pretend everything is fine. I spent the whole day trying to track down this mysterious Bellingham professor, but I ran into a brick wall at the university. Now I don't know what to do. I can't afford to hire a private detective, and I don't have time to play detective myself. That's why I wanted to talk to you. You have been a good friend to Melanie and me for a long time. Please tell me what you think about it." She took another sip of wine and then reached out to give his hand a quick squeeze. "What you're really asking is, do I think she's having an affair? I cannot give you such absolute certainty. On the one hand, I haven't seen or heard anything that would make me think that she is unfaithful to you. On the other hand, I haven't seen her very often over the past few months." His face twisted in annoyance, and she hurried to continue. "You know as well as I do that there are people who like to stir things up, and it could be something like this. Or you may have business enemies who would like you to divert attention to the tensions in your marriage. There may be other scenarios that I haven't even thought about. What I do know is that you can't ignore it and hope it goes away. I know how much you believe in marital fidelity, and I know that any hint that your marriage has been broken will eat away at you. If you don't deal with this, then eventually doubt will kill your relationship with Melanie as effectively as the romance." He looked at her hauntedly. "I understand that you are right, Gary, but what can I do? In my opinion, you should show this damn thing to Melanie. She needs to know that someone has accused her of infidelity, and she deserves the opportunity to shed whatever light she has on it. After all, Adam, if someone made a similar accusation against you, you'd want to know, wouldn't you?" He sat silently for a minute, then nodded his head. "You're right. If I don't share this with Melanie, it will affect how I behave with her. Ultimately, this will tear us apart just as surely as if she actually cheated on me." He stood up and hugged the dark-haired woman. "Thanks for helping me think things through, Gary. I don't know what I would do without you. You know how dear you both are to me, Adam. If I can help in any way, please let me know." He nodded gratefully and headed towards the door, and she stood and looked after him. When he returned home, Melanie was already waiting for him. "Where have you been, Adam?" "I tried to call, but you didn't answer." He ignored her question. Taking her hand, he led her to the sofa and sat down next to her. "I have to show you something, Mel, something that has really confused me." She sat down next to him, her face betraying her nervousness. He handed her the printout. "I received this by email today. Can you tell me anything about this?" She read it quickly. Then, to his surprise, she jumped up and started screaming. "Do you think I'm cheating on you? I do not believe in this. You got some bullshit accusation from some anonymous friend, and you're ready to accuse me of adultery? No, honey, I don't blame you for anything. If you don't blame me, then why did you show me these dirty lies?" She snatched the printout, crumpled it into a ball, and threw it at him. "You might as well plunge a knife into my heart. This hurts me so deeply. You trust someone who is too cowardly to even sign his name more than you trust your own wife." She grabbed her purse and headed to the front door. "I can't even look at you now. I'm leaving and don't know when I'll be back." With these words, she ran out, slamming the door behind her. A moment later, he heard the roar of her car's engine and then the screech of tires as she pulled out of their driveway. "Oh, damn, I never expected this. Now I'm even worse than before," he groaned sinking back onto the sofa and clasping his head in his hands. As he sat there, Adam's first thoughts were defensive. Why was she so upset? She didn't even let me finish. I didn't accuse her of cheating, I just showed her what someone else wrote, that's all. But he knew the answer before he finished. If Mel had given me that note, I probably would have exploded too. But what could I do? Act like everything was fine? Jerry was right. I can't just ignore the letter. It wouldn't be fair to Mel or me. Even though he spent the rest of the evening going over the situation in his mind, he was no closer to figuring out what to do than when he started. He knew he and Mel needed to talk, but he couldn't even decide what to tell her. All he knew for sure was that he wanted to bring his wife home to try to mend the relationship.